Cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe data centers available to many users over the internet. Large clouds, predominant today, often have functions distributed over multiple locations from central servers. If the connection to the user is relatively close, it may be designated an edge server. Clouds may be limited to a single organization, or be available to multiple organizations. Cloud computing relies on sharing of resources to achieve coherence and economies of scale. Advocates of public and hybrid clouds note that cloud computing allows companies to avoid or minimize upfront IT infrastructure costs. Proponents also claim that cloud computing allows enterprises to get their applications up and running faster, with improved manageability and less maintenance, and that it enables IT teams to more rapidly adjust resources to meet fluctuating and unpredictable demand, providing the burst computing capability. High computing power at certain periods of peak demand. Cloud providers typically use a pay-as-you-go model, which can lead to unexpected operating expenses if administrators are not familiarized with cloud pricing models. The availability of high-capacity networks, low-cost computers and storage devices, as well as the widespread adoption of hardware virtualization, service-oriented architecture, and autonomic and utility computing has led to growth in cloud computing. By 2019, Linux was the most widely used operating system, including in Microsoft's offerings, and is thus described as dominant. Cloud computing was popularized with Amazon.com releasing its Elastic Compute Cloud product in 2006. References to the phrase, cloud computing, appeared as early as 1996. With the first known mention in a Compaq internal document. The cloud symbol was used to represent networks of computing equipment in the original ARPANET by as early as 1977, and the CSNET by 1981, both predecessors to the Internet itself. The word cloud was used as a metaphor for the Internet, and a standardized cloud-like shape was used to denote a network on telephony schematics. With this simplification, the implication is that the specifics of how the endpoints of a network are connected are not relevant to understanding the diagram. The term cloud was used to refer to platforms for distributed computing as early as 1993, when Apple spin-off General Magic and AT&T used it in describing their Telescript and Persona Link technologies. In Wired's April 1994 feature, Bill and Andy's Excellent Adventure 2, Andy Herzfeld commented on Telescript, General Magic's distributed programming language. The beauty of Telescript is that now, instead of just having a device to program, we now have the entire cloud out there, where a single program can go and travel to many different sources of information and create a sort of a virtual service. No one had conceived that before. The example Jim White uses now is a date arranging service where a software agent goes to the flower store and orders flowers, and then goes to the ticket shop and gets the tickets for the show. And everything is communicated to both parties. During the 1960s, the initial concepts of time sharing became popularized via RJE. Yet, the data center model, where users submitted jobs to operators to run on IBM's mainframes, was overwhelmingly predominant. In the 1990s, telecommunications companies, who previously offered primarily dedicated point-to-point data circuits, began offering virtual private network services with comparable quality of service, but at a lower cost by switching traffic as they saw fit to balance server use. They could use overall network bandwidth more effectively. They began to use the cloud symbol to denote the demarcation point between what the provider was responsible for and what users were responsible for. Cloud computing extended this boundary to cover all servers as well as the network infrastructure. As computers became more diffused, scientists and technologists explored ways to make large-scale computing power available to more users through time sharing. They experimented with algorithms to optimize the infrastructure, platform, and applications to prioritize CPUs and increase efficiency for end users. The use of the cloud metaphor for virtualized services dates at least to General Magic in 1994, where it was used to describe the universe of places that mobile agents in the telescript environment could go, as described by Andy Herzfeld. The beauty of telescript, says Andy, is that now, instead of just having a device to program, we now have the entire cloud out there, where a single program can go and travel to many different sources of information and create a sort of a virtual service. The use of the cloud metaphor is credited to General Magic Communications employ